All right, what's going on, my fellow humans? Today I'm going to take you through one of the workouts that I have for my entire program. So I'm going to be explaining to you what I do in between the rest, what I do for my warm-up. So this is it. This is exactly what I do, one of my workout programs. Today we're going deadlifts, shoulder press, and horizontal rows, all right? So first thing, this goes for every one of my workouts here. I'm going to do two different versions of this. But I'm gonna set my foot out and notice, I'm gonna have my knee over my ankle, I lean in. My heel is lined up with my other knee right here. So now I'm gonna square my shoulders up, make sure that I'm nice and in line here, and then I'm taking my hand, I'm going all the way back with it, then I'm gonna rotate it 180 degrees, and then I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna do this 8 to 10 times. It's gonna end up being about 30 seconds. Now the tendency can sometimes be that the knee will want to drive in here. What I want to make sure that I do is squeeze my glutes back here so that I stay in line. So right here, pushing a little bit out to make sure that the knee stays in line. Then we'll switch over to the other side. Again, I can play with this, right? So if you end up here and your knee comes over the ankle, right? Then we're just gonna move our heel out a little bit more. Get to where you feel a nice pull on the inside of your legs here. Oh, what's up, puppy? It's okay. Square the shoulders up. Here, rotate, push. So all I'm doing right here is taking my shoulder through its full range of motion. All right, this like loosens it up, and we're gonna be doing some overhead pressing. So this, a great move to just prep up your arm, get your mobility going, all right? And then everything comes from the hips. So I wanna make sure that my hips are opened up. Mine are pretty tight, always, from just a lot of sprinting and heavy lifting over the last 15 years. And by the way, I lose count all the time. I know about what it feels like to get through. And so you don't have to necessarily count every time unless that is your style, that's fine. So check it out. Now I'm gonna lean in. I wanna feel a little bit of my gastroc and soleus here, my calf muscles. All right, I'm going over, but I'm not allowing my heel to come off the ground. Okay, so if your heel comes off the ground, move your foot a little more this way. Little squeeze your glute again. And then we're gonna do the same thing. Square the shoulders up, core engage, boom, back. 8 to 10 of them. Now switch over to that other side. Last ones here, same thing. Going for that big lean in, feeling the stretch here. I'm really working on my dorsiflexion, or how my ankle moves. This toe is rotated out, and then again, slight little squeeze of my butt here, right? To push your knee to the outside. Then I square my shoulders up, because that's a common thing. People will turn in. We don't want that. We want to square the shoulders up to make sure we feel that big stretch. Last one here, all the way back, push. It's like I'm pushing something behind me here. I go all the way back as far as I can, rotate it 180, and then I use these muscles to push behind me. All right, now we're gonna go into our world's greatest stretch. So, I'm gonna get rid of this mat. Now I'm gonna hinge forward, get a little bit of my hammies. Forward fold, get a little bit of that low back and mid back stretched out. Now I'm gonna walk out to a push-up plank position. I'm gonna take my right foot, reach it up on my right wrist. I'm gonna sink my hips down. Look here, sink the hips down. Really feel the hamstring here and the hip flexor here open up. Now I'm gonna take my right arm. I'm gonna inhale as I look at my hand. I'll exhale as I bring it under. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. This will be 6. Then I set my hand down. Foot comes back. I walk my hands back towards my feet, get my chest, triceps, and arms, and then I'm gonna stand up. Now we're gonna do that again, but on the other side. So, hinge, coming on down to that forward fold. Walk on out to that push-up plank position. Take your left foot, reach it up by that left wrist, again, sinking the hips down. Now, inhale as I look up at my hand. Exhale as I reach it under. Again, inhale. Two more. Set the hand down, bring the foot back, walk your hands back towards your feet, and then we stand up. All right, so that's my warm-up. That's what I do every time before I get ready to do a workout. Now, let's go ahead and get our preparatory movements. So I got a kettlebell here. We're gonna be doing some heavy deadlifts. So I'm gonna do a hip hinge and prep with this. What I got here, check out the upper back right here. We're gonna put a little slight tension to bring the shoulders back. The chest is nice and tall. Now I got my ankles over knees, over hips, over shoulders, and I'm gonna push my butt back, right? That's it. Looking for a big stretch of the hammies here. Now this is as far as I can get. And then I squeeze my glutes coming up at the top. I'm gonna do this 5 more times. Now we're gonna set it down. All right, now we're gonna get some weight. So we did a little prep with the kettlebell. Now, this is what my heavy lifts are gonna be. I'm gonna work my way up gradually though to what I'm gonna get up to. So, every one of your preparatory movements should be as if you were lifting the heaviest weight you're gonna lift today. So we're gonna go through exactly the way it should be done. Your warm-up sets should be exactly like your working sets, all right? I'm gonna go with a little wider stance today, a little more sumo. Now my knees are gonna stay in line with my toes when I come down and do this, all right? I'm gonna make sure I have good core engagement. We call it the Valsalva maneuver, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a lot of internal pressure with my breath work. So I take a big breath in, and then all that pressure builds up in my abdominal area, and then I'm gonna like flex my abs, all right? The other thing I'm gonna do, when I say core engagement, it comes from the pelvic floor, all right? So for my men, that's like squeezing a pea, right? The rest of your pee out. For the women, that's a Kegel. What I do is I find that pelvic floor, and then I ride an elevator up, bringing my belly button in. So like making yourself tall and thin, right? It's not just flexing your abs. So that is, in short, what we're trying to get done here every time before I lift this bar up. So I'm gonna hinge my hips, then I'm gonna bend my knees and come over the bar. I'm gonna pull my butt down, my chest is tall. Big breath in, tap, come back up. Set it back down. Now we're gonna go up the weight. So 5 sets of 5 is a tried and true method. I think it was introduced by the Bulgarians actually. So that's what we're doing. The beauty of 5 sets of 5 is that you can go up and down in weight as you go through the set. Now, I personally, just so you know, am not one that records what weights I lifted every week. The reason for that is that as I've gotten older, I realized what I do the day before, how I slept, it matters so much. Now, if you're going into a weightlifting competition or something like that, 1000%, you gotta be tracking a bunch of your stuff. For me, I go how I feel. Some weeks I can lift a lot more, some weeks I can't. So go your effort, all right? And that's what we're gonna work on today. What kind of effort should you look like? How should it look like when you're finishing your 4th and your 5th set? So, first set, here we go. Same thing every time. Now what I do here is do a little timer, all right? It should be somewhere between 2 to 3 minutes. I'm gonna do 3 minutes because I wanna get my weight up. And what you have to do is let your entire system recover, not just your muscles, but if you lift heavy enough, even your central nervous system will really get shocked and you need some time to recover from it. So, I don't recommend getting on your phone because then you can get lost in reels, TikToks, and then your 3 minutes will go away and you miss out on the benefit of getting an efficient workout in. Now, if you got all the time in the world and you want to, go ahead. Powerlifters who lift up to like 600, 700, 800 pounds, they actually do 1 lift or maybe 3, rest for 10 to 15 minutes, all right? So rest time is a big deal, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. For this, when we're going for strength, you should be resting 2 to 3 minutes, all right? If you feel like you're too rested during that time, you're not lifting heavy enough. All right, so I still have a minute left. Now, ideally, once you get into your final minute, you wanna start psyching yourself up, whether it's some good music that you got going on, big, deep breaths, right? It's not necessarily hyperventilating, but opening up your lungs, taking in an excess amount of oxygen, because when you lift heavy, you're automatically gonna hold your breath, all right? So loading up on it, like Wim Hof would teach you, that's what we're gonna do for this last 45 seconds. All right, here we go. Round 2 done. So I hit that 3 minute mark again. We take some time. Now I'm assessing, right? How did that feel? Actually, the first 3 felt pretty good. I'm gonna load up and put these 15 kilos on there and just see what we got. If I only get 3 on a lift, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, here's your rule of thumb. Over 5 sets, you should get 15 to 25 reps. So what do I mean by that? If you can't get 3, at least on each one, you picked a weight that was too heavy. If you can do more than 5 easily, then you picked a weight that was too light. So over 5 sets, try to get 25 reps. If you're trying to go heavier, then 15 reps. Now I'm starting to get sweaty. right? You want that. Even though I'm only lifting 5 reps, you should feel like you're getting sweaty, like you're getting hot. If you're not doing it right. Look, here's the thing. I've seen a ton of people come to the gym over a long period of time and wonder why they're not getting results. And the problem is they're doing the exact same thing and they're checking a box saying, I showed up at the gym. The problem with that, that's not what your body is gonna respond to. It's gonna adapt to that. So if you don't increase your weights, if you don't increase your speed, if you don't increase how many times you sprint or decrease your rest time in between things, you're not going to get more fit and thus get more results. We're in that final minute again. Big, deep breaths. There's a struggle there, right? Those last couple were a struggle. That's what you're looking for. Then don't forget, set your timer, feel it. So the first 2 sets, I felt pretty recovered after 2 minutes, but I let it be for that 3. Now, I feel like I'm gonna need that 3. So gauge, and then push yourself. Remember I said, if you can get up to 5 reps, that means you can probably go heavier on the next set given that 3 minutes. So now, I'm gonna up this, and I'm gonna pull out those other 20 kilos and switch them out on these 15. We'll see how many reps I get. Got 1 minute and 20 seconds. So now I take the time and I breathe. I load up. I think about my form. I think about everything I'm gonna do. Here's a common mistake. People think that you're trying to pull this weight up. Now you are, but how you get it up better is you push your feet through the earth, right? Like you're trying to push the earth away from you. And then on your hinge back, you're lifting through a pull. It's not like a bend over and grab a pen. Like you are actually using your heels and your feet to pull, all right? So when you start to get heavier, the way that you think about the lift matters so much, all right? Every time it gets a little heavier, you're gonna think about it even more. But remember what I said before, warm-up sets and these working heavy sets, they should be done the same way. So you gotta remember the same cues, you gotta do them the same way because it will reduce the risk of injury. Because that's all we're trying to do, get a little better every week. And if you get hurt, then you have to regress a little bit, which inevitably sometimes that happens. I've been very fortunate, never had a serious injury, knock on a plate. All right, that's our 3 minutes. Here we go. That was 5, all right? That felt good. But did you see the struggle in those last couple? That's what you're looking for. That's how you know you're getting strong. That's how you understand that days later, When these muscles are sore, that's burning calories. It's building lean, dense muscle that's going to burn more calories as you build it. The cool thing that some people don't understand is that the more muscle you build, whether by density or hypertrophy, the growth, you get to eat more food and look the same. Because muscle, like per inch, burns, I think it's like 3 or 4 times the calories as fat does. So the more you put on, the more calories you get to eat. Some people look at the size of me and they're like, I can't believe you can eat so much. Well, if you lift that heavy, you can. Then I get to travel the world and eat all the food because I'm here in the gym lifting as heavy as I can. So what I'm gonna do on this set is drop the weight. So this is set number 4, all right? I'm gonna drop the weight and then go up for my last one. Again, this is what I love about 5 sets of 5. You get to play with it a little bit. So you can add weight, you can take weight off. Now if the weights stay in line, I usually don't use these too much for deadlifts, but see how that one won't stay in line? So go in, here's your little clamp. All right, some of them are just the squeeze ones, but it just has a little clip on there. All you do is put that on and then you fold the clip over. Now you're locked into place. Now the weights aren't going anywhere. Now, my back, kind of feeling it on that last one. I could feel that. So, what I'm telling myself is, I really gotta make sure that this is engaged. The less this is engaged, the more this takes on. So if you feel this, after you do some kind of deadlift, or a hip hinge, right? You really gotta focus on this. Make sure that your abs are really flexed at that core. Kegel or squeeze out your piss, ride the elevator up, make yourself tall and thin, and then hinge. All right, so we got one more of these to do. I'm gonna put these 20 kilos back on. All right, so I'm probably gonna give myself a little bit more time to rest between the last set and this set. And just how I felt towards the end of it, especially with the amount of weight that it was, felt pretty fatigued. So what that means is I pay attention to how I feel and then I rest more time in between, because what I know over time is that sometimes my back can feel like, oh man, you really got it. Turns out when I wake up the next day, I'm like, I'm not that bad, okay? So you learn over time how much you can push yourself. We're going into our 3-minute mark now, and I'm gonna wait another 2, and then we're gonna do this lift. Now, when it comes to your last set, and it comes to lifting up the heavy weight, the hardest part is getting this thing off the ground. Once you have it lifted in the air, and you get it up to your hips, then you're gonna be able to just tap it and come back up again. And it gives you a lot more confidence when you pull. So again, the hardest part is lifting it off the ground. Once you can get that done, then you gotta just let ego, your repetition, your strength, all of it take over, right? So I'm gonna breathe heavily, and then we're gonna knock out this last set. I'm trying to get at least 3, all right? Remember what we talked about? Now I've already done 20 repetitions, and not the last one, I backed off the weight a little bit, but still was tough, and I did 5 reps. Now I want to try to get at least 3 here. So right now I'm telling myself, what do I need to do? Big deep breath, flex the hell out of my abs, hinge, push through the earth to bring this thing up, get the slight tension in my upper back. All of these same cues that sometimes I can forget, all right? And then here's the most important. I pay attention to how I feel on the way up because I can always dump the weight. That's the great thing about the deadlift. Very low risk of injury as long as you let your ego get out of it and you just dump the weight or pull out of it before you do something bad, okay? So here we go. I don't got it. Oof. My hips are done. I gotta listen to the body. All right. Oof. Got a pretty big head rush there. I'm gonna try one more time. Give me a few. I'm gonna back it off one. Come on, baby, let's go. Come on. That's all I got. That's all we got today, which is all right. Woo. All right. So I judged how I felt. I may have been able to get one more, but I still have a decent amount of workout to do. And again, what am I trying to do? Be better tomorrow still, all right? So I pushed myself. That was tough to get off the ground. And I haven't done doing sumo deadlifts for a while. I've been doing some trap bar. So this is a little more depth than I've been doing lately, which is okay. It's great. So that's how you should be working on your strength sets. It should be really tough. And if you can do that weekly, that was over 21 reps. That's all I did. Look at this sweat. Look at this sweat. All right, 21 reps, okay? Did it take almost a half hour? Yeah, because that's what it does. But that was my main lifts. Now we gotta do some shoulder pressing and some hinging. All right, so now we're gonna do what we call supersets, all right? This is gonna get us through the last bit of this workout quicker. So as I said in the beginning of this video, we're doing shoulder pressing and then horizontal rowing. So that means here and here. Why? Because our body only moves in a certain amount of ways. If you want to keep your shoulders healthy, you have to do both. There's a lot of people who want to just like lift with the muscles that they can see. But if you want your body to move well for a very long time, you've got to use it in all the ways it's meant to be used. So today, we're going to push up over our head, and then we're going to horizontally row like this. Here's my superset. First, pulling the weight here. I'm going to push it above my head. Exhale, flex the abs, tuck the hips under. Check out my elbows. I'm keeping them tight into my body. Big exhale and a flex of my abs as I push up. That's 2, 3, 4. Now I'm gonna set it down just for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go into my other set, which is my horizontal row. Now, even though I'm standing up going like this, what you're gonna see me do is hinge my hips here, and then I'm gonna row from here. Now, very important to keep that core engaged because, again, as I've said before, when this isn't engaged, this is gonna take on a lot of pressure, all right? So, I'm gonna hinge my hips, getting some good form even as I lift this thing up. Now, big breath in, core, hinge. That was set number 1. I got 3 more of those between 6 to 8 reps. All right, give a couple breaths. This is how you get through your workout quicker. So instead of just doing 1 lift, waiting till your shoulders are ready to do it again, you go shoulders, back, Can still get the same amount of progress, but you're also getting a little more on that heart rate and your conditioning. Back to your shoulder press. Shake it out. Now, depending on how you feel, we can go 3 sets, we can go 4 sets. You can go 6 reps, you can go 8 reps. It doesn't have to be exact on everything. All right, for some, you may want to work like that. And be like, nope, if it's written down, that's what I'm doing. For me, I go more off of how does my body feel? After those heavy deadlifts I just did, my low back's feeling a little bit. I'm getting older. I gotta remember, I'm trying to be here next week. So I'd rather back off, let my ego to the side, and then figure out what's gonna get me progression, but at the same time, keep me safe. All right, so we're gonna cheat a little bit on this next one with the shoulder presses. 2 things that I want you to notice is 1, how my hips move, like this, and then also, where does my arm get? Because a lot of times on shoulder press, what I'll see is that people end up like out here. It puts a lot of strain on your anterior deltoid. So you don't want that, right? You wanna make sure that that bar is over your head, in a straight line pretty much, so that it's mostly your bones taking on, not your joints, right? Muscles with those bones extended. Check it out. A little bit of a rest. I'm gonna show this one from the side again. Watch, the more I'm hinging my hips, the better it is for my hamstrings, for my glutes, for my low back endurance, right? So don't cheat yourself and keep yourself upright. Try to get almost to 90 degrees or parallel with the earth's surface. All right, we got one more. So if you notice with these two, I'm not having a specific time like I do on my heavy strength that I did with the deadlifts. All I'm doing, kind of going off how I feel. I'm like, all right, I know what that weight is. I know what I got last round. I know that I got it in me. Let's get this last set, baby. So I noticed a little bit on that. I was starting to lean back a little bit, which isn't great, right? Lets you know, kind of fatigued. We got one more. Bent over rows. Let's get this thing. Lastly, on this last one, I pick a spot somewhere 6 to 8 feet out in front of me, giving my neck a little bit of a bend here. It's just better for when you pull. On deadlifts, bent over rows, same thing. Give yourself a little bit of that flexion or extension, excuse me, of the neck. As always, put all your weights away. So, pretty tough workout. Hamstrings, glutes, low back, all right? I'll get my shoulders later. There's really only one move that I'm concerned about right now, happy baby, all right? So, all I'm gonna do, lay on back. I'm gonna grab the insides here and just rest into this. Now, if you'll notice, my butt comes off the ground, right? If I had some actual flexibility, this wouldn't do that. But we are where we are. It's not terrible. And I just relax into it. I let my muscles know, let my back know. Great job. We're done. You can relax and chill for a sec. Breathe. And when I do this, I'm literally thinking of the muscles. I'm talking to them in my head. I'm telling them how grateful I am for them. I'm imagining the fibers opening up, getting ready for some good nutrients, some high quality protein, some healthy fats, some complex carbohydrates, low glycemic index, maybe a couple high glycemic index just to get in there quicker to give me some energy. Some fiber. Some love. That's how we deadlift and shoulder press and horizontal row. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it, and come around for the next one. Cool.